It's hard to believe 25 years ago, on this day, Trevor Deely disappeared outside the Bank of Ireland. He just vanished into thin air, and no one to this day knows what has happened. Back in July of this year, I went over to Dublin 4. I went to Baggot Street. I went to where he last was seen, and I went back over and retraced his steps as to find out what could have happened to Trevor Deely. We do know that he was at a Christmas party that night at Buck Whaley's, and he decided to leave Buck Whaley's and go back to the Bank of Ireland in Baggot Street, which is a short enough walk. It was lashing rain that evening. There was a taxi strike on in Dublin, and he needed an umbrella to walk home. So he spoke to his colleagues for a little time, around 3 o'clock in the morning, got the umbrella, walked out. Now, there was some suspicious people outside the bank, and in fact on some CTV you could see that he was being followed down the street, but this person has been ruled out of the investigation and is no longer seen as a person of interest. But there were some other people outside the Bank of Ireland who were waiting with umbrellas. Again, some of them have been ruled out, and Gardaí have said that there's nothing suspicious, but there was one man, and I don't think he's the same man who was outside the bank. He looked like he was waiting for somebody, but Trevor spoke to him briefly, and then Trevor walked off, and Trevor was never seen again. You know, a lot of people have said he could have fallen into the canal. Yeah, it's very possible, but they did go through that canal. You might remember recently I talked about Michael Gain, and the Michael Gain case initially started off as a missing person and then ultimately became a murder inquiry. I really believe this is possibly a murder inquiry, and I think that he knew his killer. I really do. From what I can gather, and in a lot of other cases that we've seen, he probably knew who his killer was. But he's disappeared, hasn't been seen. You can go and check out my video on Trevor Deely. Subscribe to my channel. It's at Beyond the Vanishing, and I'll talk to you soon.